Heart beats fast, colors and promises. How to be brave? How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? But watching you stand alone, all of my doubt suddenly goes away somehow. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. Time stands still, beauty in all she is. I will be brave. I will not let anything take away what's standing in front of me. Every breath, every hour has come to this. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. And all along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. One step closer. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. And all along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more.
As you begin, allowing your being to settle down, gently closing your eyes, allowing soft blows of God's breath emerge on its own. breathing through your own lungs, expanding your chest and abdomen, moving along. Let him breathe through you. Breathing in and breathing out. Your patience and allowing of his breathing gifts him ultimate relief, ultimate freedom, gifting his son the same in return. His happiness is boundless, like a small child delighted in such gracious acceptance of him from you. Let this happiness flood your heart now. Filling your heart to the brim. And letting it overflow. Overflow into all of your being. Let this overflow expand your peace. All inside you. Drifting through this light peace. Bring your gaze inwardly to your eyebrow center and visualize now you standing in front of a flight of stairs. They are bright and lit heavenly. You looking down at your feet, taking the first step and going further with each step gently. At the perfect pace for you, gentle and steady. Let each step of the stairs you take uncover a new divine aspect of yourself. Just feel the feeling of change. Even if it may be nameless. Just letting the feeling be. Each step a promised action to your inner choice of ascension. As you reach the top of the flight of stairs, feeling lighter and purer than ever, coming to an open terrace. This space opening up to the vast sky above you and all around you. Looking up, rest yourself in taking in the heavenly white vast sky. The sky is your Father's expanded loving embrace. Always ever warmly welcoming. A pure reflection of how far you have come. The light, pure joy inside you that you experience comes through by choosing to ascend, to expand your being, to match your home, your heaven. Rest yourself and ground here. Breathing again. Let this divine air purify your breathing even further. Bringing relief that you remain here. You belong here. Allowing always to let Him grow your peace for you. Committing now to the joy and humility of expanding your being. You may now gently open your eyes.
Hello everyone, my name is Christina.
And my name is Danny.
And we are twin flames in harmonious union. And today we will be doing the card reading for the Church of Union service. And we are using the Whispers of Love deck by Angela Hartfield. We've really been feeling this deck lately again. It's fun.
It's a beautiful deck.
Yeah, it really is. And we've pulled 3 cards that we feel like communicate the energy in the collective right now, what we're moving through as a community. And so the first card that we pulled when we asked God for a message for everyone is slow down. It's number 9 if you're into numerology. And it says pause and allow things to unfold. And so this card, I feel it's really God communicating to be present with your feelings and where you are right now, and to release the rush of like having to be somewhere to get somewhere, and just allowing yourself to be where you are
because it's really important to appreciate where you are and to see like where you are now, because part of the journey is not just getting to the destination, but like enjoying the journey, every step that you take. And yeah, it's safe to be where you are. There's like, we don't have to rush around or like, yeah, I'm just getting like, we don't have to be, on the go all the time. It's safe to take a break.
Yeah, it's safe to trust your process and to not pressure yourself to get somewhere fast, or to control your process and control your ascension. You can truly surrender to God and allow God to work with you to have everything unfold that you're working on right now and working through. And yeah, it's not compassionate to pressure yourself and to, try and push yourself to do things or to align with things. It's just safe to relax, honestly.
Yeah, it's about surrendering to divine order. Like everything in your life is already in perfect order and is unfolding in order.
Right.
So yeah, it's safe to just slow down and allow everything to unfold before you.
Yeah, and that feels really good. It's like it's always like a process of deepening as well, because there are always layers to this, but it's always nice to go deeper into surrender and allowing like the process to unfold. And I guess if God calls you to slow down, if it's a time for rest and relaxation, and
it's safe to surrender to that. And it's actually funny because that is our next card is rest and relaxation. It's number 42, so number 6. And it's actually cool. We have 9, 6, and 3. There are 3 cards, so it's actually pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it says rest and relaxation is essential. We all have a fundamental need to take a break. And what really stood out to me when I was reading, I was reading the booklet for this card, and it said that it's important to take a break and to balance all aspects of your life and really make relaxation a part of your schedule.
Right.
Like not choosing to relax when you're like completely depleted and making yourself go until you can't anymore.
Yeah, and you don't even have to do that. The point is to always be full. Always be full of God, always be full of love, always be full of energy. And it's actually a destructive pattern to go until you're like depleted and need to recharge. Sometimes, that's like a natural process, right? Because as we expand and as we grow, there will be periods of like rest and integration, and that's all normal. But what's not normal is taking from yourself, and making sure that you're always filling yourself up on a very regular basis, on a daily basis, for giving. And this could include your diet, your exercise, what you give to your body, doing things for fun.
Yeah, your beauty.
Yeah, doing relaxing things and investing in yourself, like good skincare routine that makes you feel really good about yourself, or investing in like a new shirt or a new pair of pants or something that like you can put on and feel like really nurtured and really like supported in doing what you're doing. Like that's all like really, really important. And we've been moving deeper into this ourselves, because like as you expand and like as you're moving deeper into your life purpose, you're like, it seems like we're grounding into working more and more and giving more and more. And so our schedule is getting filled up with more and more giving.
Yeah.
And while that's really great and it feels like really like juicy and fulfilling to do that, the self-care also increases, like needs to increase in order to fully support you and expanding and giving more. So yeah, it just feels like that's like really in alignment with what we've been moving through as well. So yeah,
and it's cool, like God's saying, no, slow down, rest and relax. So if you needed, you know, your sign to relax, this is definitely it. Yeah.
So what's the third card?
So our third and final card is Have Faith. And it's 12, which is 3. So yeah, I don't know what it means to have like increments of 3. It's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
And yeah, it says, trust your faith in this situation. So I think that this is about like having faith that it's safe to relax and to give to yourself and trust that God has the situation in order. And yeah, that having faith that things work out is what allows it to work out. When you have your trust and faith, God always comes through. And yeah, what else comes up for you with this card?
Yeah, for me, it's just having faith that it's safe to give to yourself more. Like, it's imperative to give to yourself more because, like, kind of just like how we mentioned, you need to give to yourself in order to give from a full cup. And especially if you start giving more and more, you need to give more and more to yourself. And it's completely safe to do that. It's also like a way to get out of debt as well, is by fully filling yourself up and yeah, giving from that space of fullness, which is what we talk about all the time. We talk about it all the time. And I feel like there are many of us that are, you know, that have developed a really strong relationship with giving to yourself and loving yourself fully and giving from a full cup. And I feel like it's like it's kind of an endless journey until perfect union, because you could always receive more support. So it's always an ever deepening process.
Yeah, I think it's really just communicating, have faith that you are supported by God.
Yeah, God will support you. Yeah, it's safe to, you know, block off that extra time that you need to give to yourself, and God will support you always in doing that. Yeah.
Amen. So I'll just show the cards one more time. Cool. And then, yeah. So again, slow down, relax, and have faith that you are supported by God. He loves you.
Beautiful cards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed. And yeah, enjoy the rest of service.
Yep. See you.
Bye. Bye.
Hello, I'm Yoreen, and I will be introducing today's sermon. I'm very happy to be with you, and I'm very happy to share about the topic of today, which is the true meaning of mindfulness by Granville Campbell. I really liked this topic because it it is linked to a sermon that we had a few weeks ago, done by Adam and Brian, and that was about the power of presence. And so I feel like this is a continuation of the topic that we are talking about throughout the weeks here at the Church of Union. So, what I really liked about Granville's sermon was that he shared about mindfulness by sharing his life experience and his journey. And it was really meaningful to see and learn about mindfulness. I think I wasn't really sure what was going to be said about mindfulness before watching the sermon. And so I kind of want to start by sharing one of the definition, an extract of a definition that Granville shared with us at the beginning of the sermon. And he said that mindfulness is a state, not a trait, not a personality, but a state in which you are present and, I guess, aware of your state of being, aware of where you are, aware of your surroundings. And so I really liked that. It kind of grounded the subject for me and allowed for my mind to really open to what mindfulness is. And what I can share about mindfulness is that this is a topic that is really touching my heart because this is something I've been working on for the past few months. Being mindful, being present, being in a state where I am aware of myself and my surroundings. Um, I think many of us can think of a moment where we were really like not truly present, not truly there, really absent. And yeah, and what Granville said is that the first step to practicing his mindfulness was to actually listen to people throughout his career, especially at the beginning of his career. And that it was really important and not easily done to really listen to people. But that when he really started to listen to people, he was able to read between the lines and truly see what people would try to communicate to him. And I think this is really powerful. How many times have I been in a meeting or in class, and instead of listening, like actively listening, I was thinking about what I was gonna have for lunch or dinner, and I was not really truly present with myself and with people around me. And yeah, I think what this truly brings up for me is that mindfulness is a state through which we bring life, like we truly live. We allow God to show us in every moment and every second what life is and how important life is, how important every second can be. And I love that by practicing mindfulness, what you truly are doing is saying to God that you're ready to be present with Him, have a relationship with Him, and allow Him to show you um, all these little nuggets, all these little presents that are here in your life and that you have to claim. Um, like miracles, breakthroughs, but also being honest with yourself and feeling your feelings and realizing that everything, every relationship is a mirror, and that it is showing you your feelings and your state right now, and that it is super important for ascension. And so, yeah, this sermon was really powerful and really, really grounding in the way I see presence. Like it allowed me to ground what I have been working on, and it really motivates me because we see that as everything on the ascension journey, mindfulness is a practice, and that to condition yourself to be present all the time, you need to practice being mindful at every second, and that you can develop your ability to be mindful, develop your social skills, develop your psychic skills, maybe just by the power of being present in the moment. And yeah, I will, I just invite you to really listen to every part of what Granville is saying in this sermon, because this is really, really powerful, and I hope that you enjoy it. And so, without further ado, let's hear Granville's sermon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday service today. Please join us in our 3 opening arms. We invite you to say them out loud or in your heart. Please join us in our opening prayer. I am the only child of God, forever part of Him. I am created by Him in perfection, and there I will always remain. My mind is my sanctuary, where I keep His holy creation sacred. I will only allow in His voice. I will only accept His word. Today I will hear the word of God. I surrender myself to His teachings through His divine channel. I will honor what He has spoken and accept it as His will. I will be obedient to His word, for this is my salvation. In Christ's name, Om, Amen. Welcome, everybody. My name is Granville Campbell, and I will be your Church of Union minister for today. And the topic that I will be sharing about is the true meaning of mindfulness and what it has meant in my life. So for me, I have delved into the topic of mindfulness at various times in my life over a number of years, and I've continuously come back to it quite a few times, as I find deeper meaning to it all the time. I've practiced mindfulness at various stages in my life. I've shared mindfulness and helped other people with practicing mindfulness in various times in my career. And I've needed to revisit the topic quite a few times in my life because it takes continuous effort. It is definitely not a one and done situation. It is something that needs to become a habit or a way of life. So in sharing my sense of mindfulness, I looked up 3 definitions that I'd like to share with you. So one of them is from the American Psychological Association, which defines mindfulness as a moment-to-moment awareness of one's experience without judgment. In this sense, mindfulness is a state and not a trait. While it may be promoted by certain practices or activities such as meditation, it is not equivalent to or synonymous with them. The Cambridge Dictionary definition of mindfulness is that it is a practice of being aware of your mind, body, and feelings in the present moment, thought to create a feeling of calm. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines mindfulness as the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of one's thoughts, emotions, and experiences on a moment-to-moment basis. So in taking these three definitions into account, for me, mindfulness is a state of focused and complete awareness and engagement in the present moment without judgment. So let's just understand what a state is. So a state is a condition that someone or something is in at a present time. And so for us, as human beings, we condition ourselves through practice. And so we actually have to practice mindfulness through being focused and completely aware and engaged in and with the present moment, without judgment. So it kind of feels like a whole new way of being alive. And so my mindfulness journey started quite early in my career. And the thing that comes to mind very quickly, and as one of my earliest experiences, was one of my mentors saying to me, showing me a picture of hands and a heart, and asking me, "Are you ready for this job?" And my question at the time was, "Why are you showing me a picture of hands and a heart?" And the response was, "You are going to see some things in this job that may touch or even break your heart, but you have a job to do. And the things that you will be asked to do or need to do are going to touch on other people's lives." And so in hindsight, that feels like an invitation into mindfulness and what we've come to know as presence. And so in accepting the invitation, I had to learn to actively listen, like to actually hear what people were saying without formulating a response or defaulting to a response mode. And trust me, listening is not as easy as we think it is, especially when we don't want to hear what is being said or we don't like what is being said. And I've had to remember to actively listen because I was instrumental in making decisions about hiring people and developing people and deploying people and redeploying people and even firing people. And so in practicing active listening, I was able to see the gaps in a story, and it helped me to start asking questions to fill in those gaps. Because at one stage in my career, I chaired disciplinary inquiries. And not having all the facts might have proven to be rather disastrous in my line of work, especially when I had the power to make decisions that could affect not only the person and their family, but the company, and sometimes even the very case law of the country. Another thing that happened in accepting that invitation was that I had to truly learn to connect with people. I had to learn to care without taking responsibility for other people's feelings. But it was also a double-edged sword, because I also had to be clinical enough to do what I needed to do without really feeling my feelings. I remember having to stand up in front of people and let them know that things in the business were changing, and that because of those changes, some of them would no longer be employed. And work like that tends to bring up some seriously tough feelings to deal with. And sometimes the only way I knew how to cope with those feelings was to actually just ignore them. And then getting home at the end of the day and just sitting like a zombie for hours, only to wake up in the morning and having to have more of those conversations the following day. And the only thing that it taught, well, one of the things that it taught me was to be able to guide leaders into finding reasonable and feasible solutions within business restructuring processes. And as in part of my life, I remember walking into a business and being asked by somebody, "Who are you here to fire?" Naturally, I was horrified. But it allowed me to become very clear about which disciplines in the HR space I needed to release. Because I felt like there were just some parts of the HR space that were the dark side of the employment relationship. One of them being the chairing of disciplinary inquiries, which I was able to release as I stepped into higher levels of responsibility, which freed me up a little bit. But another thing that happened in accepting that invitation was that I had to learn very quickly how to mediate and to be truly objective. It required me being very balanced in my approach to finding and proposing solutions, and by extension, understanding diverse perspectives. Because it wasn't a feasible thing for me to walk into a mediation with a predetermined outcome, except to find resolution, of course. And somehow with all of that, the thing that was missing was me being truly present with myself, which led me to exploring mindfulness on a much more personal level. And the first time I was truly mindful with myself was to actually start taking a break from my desk and to sit in the pause area and eat my lunch and refuse to have a work discussion with anybody at that time. And to actually concentrate on chewing my food and tasting my food. It was a different experience. And then that extended to the practice of actually feeling the ground that I'm walking on between meetings. And that was kind of the next level for me. Because I feel like I almost felt grounded for the very first time in my life, being conscious and focused on the ground that I was walking on. And then the extension of that was to start actually feeling the water on my skin when I was taking a shower. And that was a whole new level, because it took me out of my mind and it brought me closer into being with myself. And it freed up the mental clutter for a little bit. And the simplicity of it was quite profound. But I was still not feeling my feelings. And in hindsight, I believe I had a fear that when I felt my feelings, they would swallow me up whole and spit me out on the other side as a blubbering mess. And the funny thing is that I had some of the most sensitive friends ever. Like, they weren't afraid to cry, and they weren't afraid to be a mess. And of course, that made the hair on the back of my neck, like the hair on the back of my neck, just stand up. It was horrific. And I remember asking God, why the hell are all of these people in my life? Now hold the presses, because the answer was a proper whopper. And because God has a sense of humor. So God is like, go look in the mirror, my child. And lo and behold, there on center stage, much to my horror and dismay, was none other than me, the Royal Highness of Sensitivity. And of course, I feel like I should have never asked what now. Because God's answer was to show me how sensitive I actually am. But the nice thing is that God never leaves you alone. So one of the things that happened at that point in my life was just having these friends that knew how to cope with these feelings and things like that, which I was like, ugh. But they helped me. And the next profound thing that happened was Twin Flames Universe and Jeff and Shaleia and the mirror exercise, which in hindsight I kind of believe was the tool that probably saved my life. Because all of a sudden it was okay to feel my feelings. And I was actually encouraged to feel my feelings. It was like, so that was some next level shit right there. Like, I spent years and years trying to deny my feelings. And so now I had to feel my feelings. I was encouraged to feel my feelings. I was encouraged to be present with myself. And after all of those years of not wanting to feel my feelings, it took a lot of work and effort and practice to trust the new space that I had found. It kind of feels like I was being rehabilitated. And that was a whole new level of mindfulness for me. Because the mirror exercise systematically brought me back to myself. I started learning a little bit resistantly, but I started learning in that space to truly be present with myself and to start rebuilding my foundation with myself. One mirror exercise at a time. And it was tough in the beginning. It was tough in the beginning because being mindful or present with my feelings was something that felt really uncomfortable. And finding coaches to work with that actually just helped me in that space was a saving grace. Because I think I would have possibly felt a little bit overwhelmed by feeling my feelings. But my coaches created a safe space to do that. And Twin Flames Universe created the safe space for me to share that. Which, yeah, I can only say it felt like being rehabilitated. Like, I didn't grow up in my life feeling my feelings. I didn't grow up in my job feeling my feelings. And coming across Twin Flames Universe after kind of just finding all that sensitivity that was there, that I was suppressing, was a saving grace. And step by step, mirror exercise by mirror exercise, I became a lot more comfortable with actually being present with myself. And even in doing that, there are those little practical things that also help. Like just actually when you walk, feeling the ground underneath your feet. And when I kind of married that with the mirror exercise, it allowed me to feel supported on a much more profound level and a much deeper level sooner. And this journey of mindfulness or presence has actually been fun in certain points. It hasn't always been tough. It's actually been fun because it became so much easier to let go of the upset. Like, I didn't have to spend hours and hours replaying scenarios and rethinking things and rethinking how I would have responded and how I could have responded. I could just heal the upset and move along. And even if that upset resurfaced, it just resurfaced to take me deeper into my healing. And it just helped me be more present with myself. And so the journey has been interesting. And going into mindfulness and presence has just kind of become a new perspective for me. And a quote that kind of just sums up that feeling of being present and mindfulness is one that I came across from Eckhart Tolle, which says, only one thing is of absolute importance, and that is your connectedness with being. And so for me, again, just to kind of recap it, it's a state, it's a condition, and you get conditioned through practice. And so I invite you to start your practice of presence so that it does become a habit. And yes, it does take work and it takes effort. And I constantly come back to it and I'm constantly reminded of it. And it's fun. It's useful because I don't feel scattered anymore. I feel much more centered, much more grounded, much more myself, and much more able to share myself, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't rebuilt the foundation and actually accepted that it is okay to have feelings in the first place. In the second place, it is okay to feel those feelings. And in the third place, those feelings always present an opportunity for healing. So I thank you for being with me today and just taking this walk with me through what has been a very interesting journey for me into mindfulness that actually culminated with almost the ultimate tool of mindfulness, which is the mirror exercise. Thank you, everybody, for sharing your time with me and for sharing these few minutes with me. And yeah, I welcome you to just sit back as we go into our closing prayer. Father, I accept your word into my heart. I will honor your will in my life and will follow you without hesitation anywhere you ask. I know you guide me into your heart, where I belong. I accept that you are everywhere, and your teaching is in all things. God, I know you provide me with clarity in this teaching of union, that I may be forever in union with you. I accept that you are in me as you are in my brother. I will not deny my brother your word, and will share your teaching with him in any way you ask, and only as you ask. For when I share my salvation with him, I fully claim my salvation and return to you with him. In Christ's name, Amen. Speaking this prayer in your heart means that you have accepted that you are on the path of awakening to your true divine nature. This is what it means to be a unionist. Follow the teachings of union with God wherever you find them and purify your consciousness into perfect union with your Creator. And I welcome you to join us in our 3 closing Oms. Please feel free to say them out loud or in your heart. Thank you, everybody.
So thank you for coming and watching today's sermon and Sunday's service. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned more about mindfulness. What I really liked about the sermon, I guess in its form, is that Granville shared about mindfulness through his journey, his personal journey, and I loved the combination of everything with discovering Twin Flames universe and discovering the way to feel his feelings and realizing that it is a practice for eternity because he had years of experience behind it, but still, it felt like he felt like a child discovering that he was allowed to feel his feelings. I truly feel his feelings when he discovered the work of Jeff and Shaleia. And that was so, it felt like nurturing. He felt very loved in this moment. And I think all of us can relate to that moment where you realize that you are allowed to feel your feelings and that it was the beginning of a journey to more presence with God in your life. So, yeah, again, thank you for coming to the Sunday service. And I'd like to invite you to visit the page unionism.org to see all past sermons, music, meditations, and card readings. You can also donate and tithe to the Church of Union and contribute to bringing heaven on earth and sharing our message of unionism to the world. If you liked this sermon, you can like and subscribe the Church of Union YouTube channel. And I would also invite you to continue this discussion after church in our after church tea time, which is a live discussion with the members of the church discussing everything that they liked and that they noticed in the Sunday service. And you can join too and participate by messaging the chat during the live discussion. So, have a good Sunday and see you next Sunday for another Sunday service. Thank you.